The blunt comments, probably one of the hardest things for me, anyways. So I'm gonna tell you guys some things that have really helped me deal with it in my relationship. Um, Reading all the books about Asperger's certainly helped, and just understanding how their mind works and their train of thought. And I like to think of Andrew's brain like a computer. Like I call him my robot man sometimes, because if something's downloaded in there, like a piece of information, he's just going to spew it out the way it went in. So he's not really going to sugarcoat it or understand or realize that you might be offended, because he wouldn't be offended. And that's kind of one of the things I love so much about him, is that people can say something to him like, hey, you're wrong, I read this, or hey, you should do it this way, and he will listen to you and be like, oh, I'm wrong, like why am I wrong, did you read something? And he'll take that information in without being offended. He'll just take it as fact. So he would expect other people to be that way as well. So he'll think he's helping someone by being like, oh, you shouldn't do it that way, you should do it this way. And in his head, he's just trying to pass on information that he's learned, and people will get really offended, and he'll be confused, because it's like, why wouldn't you want to know? Like in his head, why wouldn't you want to know if there's a better way of doing that, or if I read something or whatever? So it kind of amuses me now when we're out, and it certainly doesn't happen all the time. And Andrew's a really friendly guy, and he, would never do anything to intentionally bother anyone. He's kind of in his own world, but just every once in a while he'll say something, and someone will just be like, "Did he just say that to me?" Um, it's ruined a few of our date nights for sure. And not too often, but when it does, like, it's just like we'll be having a really nice night cooking and have, music on, or we're about to watch a movie, and then all of a sudden he'll say something the wrong way, and I will just be like mad. And it'll hurt my feelings, and I really try not to bring things up to him when my feelings are really hurt, because I might make a bigger deal out of it. And sometimes I can look at it the next day and be like, oh, this is what he meant. But I'm learning that when those moments happen, I'll give you the example of our most recent one. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was asking me about my workouts, and I've been, I gained 32 pounds, and I'm down 15 now, and since the head injury, so I've really been trying with my workouts. I'm excited because I'm finally like getting momentum, and I'm halfway there, and my head's feeling better. And he asked me something like, so when you're working out, like what's your goal? Like what's your goal when you're working out? And of course I kind of get immediately a little bit defensive, and I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, what's your goal? Like what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to get stronger? Do you have like a weight you want to lift, and like a goal? And I took offense, because I felt like he was kind of insinuating that I wasn't working hard enough, and it really hurt my feelings. Kind of ruined the night. We watched a movie or whatever, but I wasn't in a good mood, and he could tell that I was upset, but he had no idea it was him, and he had no idea why. And then he's trying to cheer me up. And the psychologist who diagnosed Andrew helped explain to me that in his head he's just like, okay, Michelle's not happy, I'll do this. Is she happy? No. Okay, she's still not happy. Okay, I'll do this. And that night was hilarious, because he actually came out of my room and just was like, here's $100. And he was kind of joking, but he was really trying to cheer me up, because he could tell I was sad. And in my head I'm just thinking, like, you jerk, like you commented on what I should be doing at the gym. So it kind of ruined the night. The next day I came home, I went for a walk, and I came home, and I was really upset. I was still upset about it. So I knew I had to bring it up. And when I walked in, he was like, hi. And I was all upset, and he was just like, what is going on? And I was like, we need to talk about last night. And he was like, oh, it was me. It was me? What did I do? And he just had no idea. So I had to ask him, like, what did you mean? Why did you say that? And it's so funny. I wish I would have just asked in the moment. So we haven't had a moment like this since. This was a few months ago. And the next time this happens, I need to just immediately ask him, what are you thinking? Like, why are you saying this? And he was saying it because on his workout that day, he's been swimming laps. So he's been working up north to save money for our travels. And when he's home, he's swimming. He's not really lifting weights right now because his arms are always sore from wrenching and from working up north. And he like hit a new goal on his lap. So he like made this internal, I forget how many seconds he wanted to swim, how many meters in, and whatever. So him asking me those questions was just him trying to figure out if I was like him and I thought like he did. So it came out really rude. He didn't know how to say it and it kind of ruined that date night, but it was an important step in our relationship. And no things are good or bad. It was just a learning curve. So if you're dating an Aspie man, or if you have an Aspie son, or if you have a friend that's an Aspie, sorry, I say son because they're typically male, but or daughter or friend, and they say something blunt and rude to you that hurts your feelings, just ask them calmly, why did you say that? What is your train of thought right now? And if they're anything like Andrew, they will be able to tell you what they're thinking. And I think in the beginning of our relationship, there was so many times that he said or did something that really hurt my feelings, and I just kind of didn't ask him to dissect it because it was a sensitive subject for me. Like if it was a comment about my weight or about my moods or about anything. And when I asked him, he could explain his train of thought, and I was like, oh, wow, I'm not mad anymore at all. I'm not even a little bit mad because I understand why you said it. I understand that it came out wrong. I took you differently because I'm a neurotypical and you're atypical. And in your head, it meant one thing, and in my head, it meant something else. So, yeah, the blunt comments, they can be tough. There definitely have been a couple moments where we've been in social situations where I felt the need to tell someone about Andrew's Asperger's, and we weren't really telling people yet. And he was kind of like, "Why did you do that?" And I'm like, "Because it was so awkward, and I had to like let the person know." Because to me, I'm like, I don't want anyone to think you're a jerk. Like you're one of the kindest, most interesting people I know. You would never do anything when he knows he bothers someone. He does everything to try and fix it. And I'm really excited through our travel blog, and I want people to get to know Andrew and to just shine a different light on Asperger's and the autism spectrum. I think it's actually called autism spectrum disorder now, formerly known as Asperger's. But now that I know about it, I'm noticing those qualities in so many people. And if they are a little blunt, I just you can't take it personally because it's actually not usually about you at all. So if that happens in your relationship, ask them their train of thought.